очікує від підписання цієї угоди вже 27 червня. І зараз я запрошую до слова нашого першого спікера, пані Лісовська Октябрина, представник організатора і голова Центру соціального лідерства. Власне, цей центр був основним розробником, ініціатором проекту «Корупція очима дитини». Пані Октябрина розкаже нам про цей проект, і я думаю, що в нас буде змога подивитися, що діти думають про корупцію, як вони собі це уявляють. Прошу вас.
Я рада вас здесь всех приветствовать. Спасибо.
Thank you very much for coming, and it's great that the topic of childhood is not only topic number one on holidays, big holidays, and I would like to start with the quotation of Nelson Mandela, who told that education is our most important weapon that can change the world. For us, it's work. For us, it's our mission, and it's all our life. Because children, without any makeup, they see what they think without manipulations of children. We began the project Childhood Territory of Security, and when we started to receive the first paintings of children, we started to work on that issue because we work on social marketing for years, and we work with all the ministries and international structures that are interested in the issue of conscious parenthood and childhood. And when we analyzed annotations and pictures of children, we were impressed that our Ukrainian children clearly identify themselves as a nation. Did happen as a result of events, and we can say that happened, but probably because of the last events that took place in Ukraine.
Опять-таки, в интервью с...
In the interview with teachers, we had a study on them, and the situation with anti-corruption education in Ukraine, if I may say that is on zero level. There is no system of corruption education for children. There is no such a program in Ukraine for broad public. And our project that is like a bridge. That is an invitation to build intersectoral partnership between all the stakeholders and experts to build a system of preventive system of corruption education in Ukraine. I would like to tell you that something very important, that 70% of children, unfortunately, have practical experience of corruption, and we can tell that by the pictures from annotations when they write that if I give $100 bribe, they will take me to a kindergarten, or deputies play with their dogs on children playgrounds, or how my father is a friend of road police, and you can see all of that in the pictures. Where we have more corruption in the opinion of children. First of all, public servants are corrupted the most, and that's clearly visible. That is clearly to identify in the pictures. So, like, it's about 20%, 50%, and then judiciary. That's one more dimension. And also then teachers, education, principals and directors, and then inspectors of road police, and also corruption in healthcare system. They write in annotations that I don't want to pay for a sanatorium. Healthcare should be free in Ukraine. It is free only in documents. In 20% of works we saw synthesis of different kinds of corruption in our government. It's very interesting. All of us who live in the same country, that the half of children portray a symbol, use US dollar as a symbol of corruption. Revenue is present in 4% of the drawings. Despite that stress that children have when they face corruption, 80% of their drawings they draw pictures of united Ukraine. That gives them hope, belief, that makes them quiet. That is something to be for the sake of what they want to develop. That shows that they have high level of responsibility when they are 10, 16 years old. They are responsible for their civic position in the post. These facts, as nothing else, show that our children, our youth, are ready to get new knowledge and only wait. So there's a big social demand. We have to satisfy, we have to support them and give them knowledge how they can fight corruption. And there are lots of programs and examples in the country. There are countries that in 20, 30 years, thanks to education programs, they had great dynamics in corruption fight, and my colleagues will tell about that a little bit later. Again, that is very important. It doesn't matter what kind of an anti-corruption law we have. If we don't build responsibility in our people, if we don't build civic society, it's impossible to fight corruption. So that's why I would like to finish my briefing with calling to unite all stakeholders, all ministries. We invited them for this event, and there are only professionals who develop programs, and a representative from the Institute of Innovative Technologies and Education and Content in Education. Though there must be, in our opinion, there must be top public servants from the Ministry of Education. It's their competence. It's a part of their competence to help the third sector, to help such organizations like us, to give us education and all resources like it happens all over the world. Thank you very much. All the materials and infographics, you can get that from us or from our website. Thank you very much. We would like to hear the opinion of a psychologist or an expert who worked with you together in this project. That's why I invite Lidia Dubinska. She's a child family psychologist, and please tell us from the point of view of psychology about the sense of such a project and what conclusions we can make.
Good morning. First of all, I'd like to apologize because on my way to here I felt not really good. Probably I have some hypertension, stroke, and but when working with the pictures, I could not but pay attention to that image of a free and happy Ukraine. There were lots of sunbeams, blue skies, sunflowers, and as the competition was called the territory of safety, it was a clear indication what children connect in this regard, and they connect the notion of safety not just with the family and school, but also with the overall broader context in the country, and this is of paramount importance. If you please go back to the slide that shows that relationship, we will see the emotional involvement of children, which allows to say that they did face corruption already, given the average age of the contest participants from 9 to 16. We can say that already at the age of 9 they do know about corruption among doctors, teachers, etc., and we can say that corruption is omnipresent in their lives. And it is really important to see their emotional attitude towards corruption expressed through their pictures. We may speak about their condemnation, about their anger with corruption, their not readiness to accept it. It is important to see that children feel personally responsible for what's happening in the country, because they already feel themselves involved in social processes unfolding in the country, which brings us certain hopes. Looking at this slide, we can see the position of moral unacceptance of corruption, their demand to ban corruption, to banish it from their life. Children express their sheer desire to eradicate corruption in the country. There are pictures that even show flames, which clearly says of children's willingness to see corruption really burnt out, cooked out of the country. And this surely says of their very personal attitude towards this phenomenon. This is really important, because only personal attitude of a citizen is able to make some changes in the country. And this competition, in my view, shows that our children already these days have this civic position. Ms. Lila, we would really like to hear also comments from other experts, but could you tell us what are the innovative aspects? And we'd like to address, to give the floor to Galina Kolomoets, from the research fellow from the Innovation and Information Technology Department in the Institute of Innovation Technologies and Contents of Education. Thank you. We would like to first of all thank to all the event coordinators, children, and everyone, those who highlighted the problem of corruption in the country. We'd like to thank staff members of the Social Leadership Center. But could you please be more specific as regards innovative aspects of it? You see, this has been the first competition which involved children in the evaluation of the topic of corruption. But you see, we are really short of time, and there are questions from the media pending. So maybe we would invite Ms. Oktyabrina to join the panel to be ready for answer the questions. What was the mean average age of the children participants? We had two groups, wider groups, from 10 to 13 and from 13 to 16. We had more than 70 pictures received that were really dedicated to this topic, and there were many more pictures that were not clearly related to it. But what were the objectives of this project? Yes, you had pictures, you had this vision expressed by them, but how do you plan to use this material, if you want, to further highlight civic attitude towards corruption also among the government officials? You see, it allowed us to pinpoint weak spots. Also, the weak spots in children and their pedagogues' understanding of corruption. We see some prospects of enhancing their position on that. We will develop methodological materials by collaboration with the Institute in order to enhance the scope of educational aids in this regard. We'll use these pictures, these works, to make a calendar which we will distribute among officials at all levels, because we see this as a very, really important step with a certain punch. It will show what children think about it. Okay, but what are the positives of the project for the Ministry of Education that you represent? Well, first of all, in order to prepare curriculum or methodological materials, we need some raw data, and the competition exactly provided us with that data. And this will provide an impetus for anti-corruption education. Do you plan to launch training courses on this matter? Well, it is Ms. Oktyabrina who's the initiator of the process. Maybe they will start work on that from the early years of education. This is what I actually mentioned. We are open for collaboration with everyone. We are really confident that we will succeed. It should be an intersectoral work involving all the structures, all the international institutions, third sector participants majoring on the topic. We need to work together, developing and treading our own path to create a comprehensive anti-corruption education system. Then maybe we will invite a political scientist to give the summary remark. He will speak about the results of the project. Let me start with a personal story. A friend of mine married a Frenchman time ago. They lived in Ukraine for some time. They have got 2 children, and then they moved to France. And 2 of her children went to the kindergarten there. And her 5-year daughter once told her that, you know, Mom, you're not authorized to tell me that because I have my own rights. You may not tell me where I should put my toys because it is about my personal space. This gives a glimpse on what the EU is and why the EU society is different from ours, because from the very green age, children there know their own rights and they're able to defend their rights and defend their truth. Unfortunately, here in Ukraine, it is just an abstract perception of the topic of children's rights. There can be some knowledge regarding it, but it has never been implemented in practice. And I'd like to pinpoint the 5 principles which should underlie the Ukrainian education system. First concerns development and a bringing of creative capacities, not to lose any bit of child's talent. The education may not instill uniform knowledge on everyone. It is necessary to develop personalities. The second principle is leadership skills development. Children should not just consume knowledge. They need to be able to take responsibility, to organize their peers, to grow into leaders of the national scale. Third is school-level self-management. Children should be in charge of setting up creative teams, arranging their school life. The fourth principle concerns legal education, civic education, on top of natural sciences and sciences, on top of other disciplines. It is necessary to teach them about civic values and how to preserve them throughout one's life. We live in a state well capable of bringing and educating exceptional scientists who unfortunately seldom make either good employers or good employees or good citizens. And the final point I'd like to outline before you concerns the reforms that we speak a lot about in Ukraine. The reform of education is of paramount importance, and this competition is a clear example how the civic society goes ahead of state and government efforts in the field of education reform. Thank you so much, Mr. Sergey, for that comprehensive comment about the role of the project. May I remind you that we heard to the representatives of the Social Leadership Center, and those interested are welcome to visit the website of the project to see how powerful their results are. These results will be really of importance for corruption elimination and bringing of generations of Ukrainians. Thank you, and we are expecting next speaker at 12.